Your Excellency, let me start with you. Ethiopia has invested a lot in infrastructure, particularly roads. Can you tell us a little bit what have you been doing in the past few years and what are the implications of that for trade?
We have been doing a lot in terms of improving our infrastructure, particularly transport infrastructure or roads. Just to give you insight, back in 1997, the total road network size we have as a nation was about 26,550 kilometers. Now, as we speak, we have more than 175,000 kilometers of roads. And that's also helping a lot in terms of improving the trade activity in the country. Because ultimately, when we talk about infrastructure, it's about access, it's about connectivity, it's about mobility, and that also takes us to efficiency and ultimately competitiveness as well.
There's this perception that African countries don't invest, don't spend in their infrastructure. How true is that?
I think, we have data that has actually can debunk that perception. African government actually are number one financier of their own infrastructure. They finance about 30% of the total infrastructure, followed by DFIs, and then private sectors. Of course, as you know, they are stressed by their fiscal position. So that's why I think they need to, expand and be innovative, and then also monetize what they have done before. So we're trying to do this asset recycling thing. I think it's something innovative that government can actually free up the Thai capital into infrastructure they have already built, float it for private sector, get the resources to expand new infrastructure and maintain. So that means they will not be adding new debt to the infrastructure, but they will be expanding infrastructure.
What efforts are your government, Ethiopia, putting towards improving cross-border infrastructure?
For Ethiopia, being a landlocked country, connectivity is very important. Connectivity both to the neighboring countries as well as connectivity to the ports as well. As we speak now, Ethiopia is connected by asphalt road to all the neighboring countries, by the way. And we are trying to even take that one step further by connecting, or by doing expressway projects to connect Addis or Ethiopia to the neighboring countries and to the ports. So if you see, for instance, a very good example of this can be the Horn of Africa initiative, where we try to promote regional integration through infrastructure development projects. So we are developing regional projects together. So if to mention one, we have the Kampala, Addis, Juba, Addis Djibouti corridor project.
Okay. So we are refiners, by the way.
Exactly. And we are very grateful for that as well.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
And by the way, since you're jumping in here, what are the options that governments have to finance their infrastructure?
I think Ethiopian government, for instance, has been leveraging its funding with the bank to finance infrastructure, right? So, and I'm sure also they're also using other sources to finance infrastructure. What I like about Ethiopia is the multimodal approach. They do road, they do railway, air, and so on and so on. So we just finished a conversation with Ethiopia last week to also develop another airport here in Ethiopia, which is going to add to the existing.
That's an ambition.
Exactly.
Yes, very ambitious. And a very good thing about it is it's not about having kind of regional master plan. It's all about having a joint implementation plan as well. It's all about having a joint financing mechanism as well. So that's very important. I think we need to promote these kinds of things in other regions of Africa as well.
What about the corridor initiative in Addis Ababa? It's a big project.
We call it Integrated Corridor Development Program. It's about, for instance, inclusivity. If you see the corridor development, you have for vehicles, you have for pedestrians, you have for cyclists, you have for all citizens.
Can you tell us progress with PIDA project, cross-border projects?
Last year, we have published the first 10 years implementation report of PIDA, showing tremendous progress in terms of implementation. We have achieved more than 3,500 kilometers of rail. That's only for transport. In terms of energy, we have, through PIDA, transnational connection, more than 16,000 kilometers of transmission line.
That will require a lot of financing. AfDB
that actually
came up with PIDA financing strategy.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what?
Indeed. Actually, strategy is really building on what the governments are doing. But as we said, it's not enough because of their fiscal space. So we're trying to have private sector PPPs. We're trying to also use, crowdfunding, infrastructure bonds. We're also trying to also do asset recycling. So these are some innovation that PIDA strategy had that we could actually leverage.
One of the projects in the PIDA priority list is the Lapset Rail. It's linking Ethiopia to Lamu Port and South Sudan. How far is Ethiopia going with that particular project?
It's one of our priorities because ultimately for us, being a landlocked country, it's very important to access or diversify our ports. So LabSet will be a very strategic initiative for us. And we are acting accordingly, I mean, as a nation, working together with our Kenyan and South Sudanese colleagues.
I mean, what are you guys doing at AU-NEPAD to speed up implementation of PIDA? I know you have been very active.
Yeah, but the issue is not financing. It's not even project preparation. It's the early project preparation phase. Because 80% of infrastructure projects in Africa fail because of lack of preparation. But preparation costs a lot of money. No one actually wants to come there. African Development Bank, of course, is doing its best, to come in there. But you won't see many persons coming in. That's the reason why with African Development Bank, again, this time, we come with the solution to invest it into what we call early project preparation phase. So this is a phase in which we bundle projects in a portfolio. Then we hire actually an expert service pool. You give it to them, and we ask them to invest time and energy into project identification.
We are done. Thank you.